Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be making the Brinkley double zipper pouch. This is a really fun pouch. It features two zipper pockets, one on the front and one on the back, and then there is an added third pocket right in the middle. So it's really fun. You can make this as big or as small as you want, and it's a lot easier than it looks. It is, I can easily fit an iPhone 7 in the smaller bag. This one's a little bit larger, and again, I've got two zipper pockets and a middle pouch. This can easily be a little hand clutch, or I'm going to show you in the video, I actually made this larger one into a crossbody bag by adding two tabs on it and a crossbody strap. We're going to be making the wristlet version in this video, but you'll see here, I've just got a crossbody bag here, or crossbody strap. And by simply adding the crossbody strap on this larger one, you have a really nice size crossbody bag that goes with any occasion, and I think it's super cute. Now I made a few different samples. This smaller one I started with 6x8 pieces of fabric, and the same for the yellow. It's slightly smaller, and then this is more of an 8x10 size. And you could make this as, like I said, as big or as small as you want. But I think it's really, really cute. I love this art gallery fabrics that I used on the larger one. So let's get started and create your own double zipper Brinkley pouch. Okay, so this is what you're going to need for this project. If you're going to make the large size, you're going to need 4 pieces of your lining fabric and 4 pieces of your outer fabric cut to 8x10. If you want to make the smaller version, you can cut those to 6x8. On the back of my outer fabrics, I have cut my interfacing to 7.5 by 9.5 and then just fuse that to the back. And if you want to do any quilting, once you fuse that interfacing, go ahead and stitch it. You can see I kind of just followed the pattern on the fabric and went ahead and put some stitching lines in there. But if you're using the fusible fleece, that's absolutely optional. You don't have to do any stitching whatsoever. So you're going to have 4 pieces of outer fabric, 4 pieces of lining fabric. You need your zippers, and they need to be at least 10 inches long, if not longer. I prefer to work with longer than I need. If you want to do a crossbody bag, then you're going to need 2 D-rings. If you just want to do the little side wristlet strap, you only need 1. And you also need a matching lobster clasp with each. If you want to do the crossbody, you need 2 lobster clasps, 2 D-rings. If you're going to do just the wrist strap, which is what we're going to do in this video, you're only going to need 1 D-ring and 1 lobster clasp. You're also going to need a strip of fabric, and I've cut this one to about 4x2. This is just one of my scraps left off of this fabric. And you're going to prepare that the same way you did the wrist strap. You're going to fold it in half and then open it and fold those long sides in half and then fold that in half. And this is going to represent our tabs that are going to hold on our D-rings. For your handle, you're going to cut a piece of fabric that is approximately 2 inches wide by 15 inches long. This is just for the wrist strap. And what I did was go ahead and put a piece of interfacing along one of the long ends. I cut that to about a little less than 1/2 inch, and I just put it on one of the outer long edges. And then I prepared this the same way. I folded the outer edges into the center and folded this in half, and I pressed. Now don't go ahead and sew this closed. You don't want to do that until we're ready to assemble the handle. This one you can go ahead and prepare and stitch it closed along the long end, and then that will serve as our tabs. Or optionally, if you want to use faux leather, which is what I think I'm going to put on this one for my tabs, I just took a scrap piece of faux leather or vinyl, and for this you don't need to fold it in 4, so I just fold it in half like this and then just stitch along that long side and stitch along this long side, and that gave me my faux leather tabs. So I think I'm going to use that on this particular bag. I think that'll be cute. And that's an option as well. So if you use these tabs, then you don't need this piece of fabric that's cut to 2x4. And that's cut to 2x4 so that you have enough for 2 tabs if you want to do the crossbody. If not, you could actually get away with probably 2x2 or 2x3 what my plan was is just to create this and then cut it in half, and then you'll have 2 tab pieces. So that being said, let's get started constructing this bag. It's really super easy, and I think you guys are going to like this size. So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to take one of our outer fabrics right side up, so the top is up here. So this yellow side's going, well, I guess they're both yellow. This is going to be my top side. I'm going to take my zipper pull, put it face down, line it up at the edge on the left, and this is going to open from left to right. If you want yours to open this way, you're going to do it in reverse, but I'm going to have mine open on the left, and I'm just going to clip that into place. I'm using these Wonder Clips. Now when I get down to this end, we're going to do like we have done in the last couple of videos, and we're just going to push this tab up just like this and clip that into place. And I'll try to get a close-up of that so that you can see exactly what I've done here. So I just folded the zipper up and out of my way, and it's coming off the top of the fabric. All right, so once you have that all lined up, I find it easiest, and this is why I like to use a long zipper. Take that zipper and just undo it and get it out of your way, get that bulk out of your way so you're not trying to work around that zipper head, and keep everything straight. All right, once you have this clipped into place, you're going to take one of your lining fabrics, and if you have a directional fabric, you want the direction to face the top of it to face this way. So we're going to line that up, and we're lining that up on the edge here and with the top of the fabric, and we're just going to replace our clips, keeping that zipper up just like we had it. And you're just going to take this over to the sewing machine and stitch right down this edge from one end all the way to the other end. And if you want to do this assembly style, which is kind of easier for this bag because we're going to be making 2 identical pouches, you can go ahead and create another sandwich exactly like we just did. So take one of your outer fabrics, take your zipper, face down, line it up on the edge, clip it into place, fold this end up, clip that into place. Let's undo our zipper. Take another lining piece, face down, line that up. All right, so you're going to take both of these over to the sewing machine, and you're going to stitch from one end all the way to the other, back stitch at the beginning and the end. Okay, so it should be looking something like this. You're just going to open it up, open up your sandwich, push this down, kind of finger press it into place, and then take it over to your iron and give it a nice press away from the zipper. And then take it over to the sewing machine and do a nice top stitch right along that top edge on the fabric side, and do that to both pieces. Okay, so you can see I've ran a top stitch right along the top edge of the zipper. All right, so go ahead and zip it back up. Okay, so you're going to take your last 2 outer pieces. You're going to place one down, face pretty side up. You're going to take one of your sandwiches and put it pretty side down. Or so these 2 fabrics are touching. You're going to line up that edge again and again. Now that we know where we're at, we can unzip that zipper. Go ahead and clip this into place. All right, we're going to take this end, push that tab up, catch that in our clip. Then you're going to take a lining fabric, put that right side down, lining it up, sandwich the zipper in the middle. You want to make sure that your fabrics are lining up on the sides. You're going to do the same thing over here. Outer fabric, sandwich, zipper sandwich, face down. Then you're going to take over to the sewing machine, and you're going to stitch from here to there and from here to there. Open it up and do your top stitch on the fabric side just like you did on this half. Okay, so now we have both of our pouches completed. We can zip this back, or not completed, but we have this much done. I'll zip this back up. Get these untwisted here. So you should have 2 sandwiches that look like this, and you've ran your top stitching along the top. Now you can see that mine's gotten a little bit wonky, and that's fine. We can straighten that up in the next step. So the next thing we're going to do is take this over to the sewing machine and make sure that your zipper pull is over here, the zipper's closed. And on this end, you're just going to run a stitch back and forth over the end of the zipper, just slightly inside where the edge of the fabric is going to be. And that's just going to make sure that we don't accidentally pull that zipper pull off. So do that on both of them. Go ahead and close your zippers. Okay, so once you have your zipper secured, and you can see I just ran a stitch back and forth just to make sure that my zipper pull doesn't come off, you can go ahead and straighten these up with a ruler. And I'm just going to place it on here, make sure it's straight. I'm going to use the seam of my zipper, line that up with the horizontal line on my ruler just to make sure that it's straight, and I'm just going to trim this off, making sure you should have plenty of clearance there on the end. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to push the zipper over here, line it up. Okay, so now we've got 2 zipper sandwiches that look like this. Everything's nice and cleaned up for us. So now what we're going to do is attach the 2 bags together before we actually turn them into bags. So the thing that you need to figure out is, do you want your zipper to open on the left or the right? I want mine to open on the left, or I want it to be on the left and then open towards the right like this. So figure that out, and then you're going to orient both bags the same way. So both of mine with the zipper closed, the tab or the zipper pull is on the left side. All right, we've got them folded in half like this. Now you're going to lay, if there's one that you like better, that you want to be the front of the bag, and I think I like this one better, I'm going to put that one on top of the other one. So I've got 2 bags. This is going to be the front of my bag. This is going to be the back of the bag. So you have 2 that you like. Put the one that you like the most on the front. They should be the same size at this point. If they're not, you can go ahead and trim it up a little bit more. All right. So now what we are going to do is attach the inside of this bag, or the back of this bag, to the front of this bag. Does that make sense? So we've got our 2 bags like this. We're going to attach these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to lay it like this. I'm going to grab this piece and just the outer fabric, not the lining. I'm going to put it like this. So I've just got the outer fabric. This piece, I'm going to fold it so everything else is over here. I've got just this piece and just this piece, and we're going to connect these 2. So I'm going to take this and lay it on top. So now I've got this going on. I've got 2 bottom pieces. So both of my zippers are in the same orientation. And I've got the 2 inside pieces like this, and all the rest of my fabrics are over here. All right. So what we're going to do is line up the seams and clip it just to keep everything else out of the place, or out of our way. Same over here, just line it up, clip it. All right, so these 2 fabrics should be pretty squared up. If they're off a little bit, it's fine. So now we're going to turn this direction. I'm going to use a fabric marker that you can see. But you can use an ink pen, whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. This is actually not going to be seen, especially if you have the fusible fleece. So what we're going to do is measure in, I guess you guys can see it better this way. We're going to measure in 2 inches from the outside. So there's 1, 2. And I'm just going to draw a mark like this. I'm going to measure 2 inches in from this side. make a mark. And now I want to measure about 1 inch, well, let's make it 1.5 inches down from that top seam. So this is where I'm going to stop. And then we're going to measure 1.5 inches from the bottom. And draw a line. All right. So clip these fabrics together. Now, if you don't want that center pocket, so now you have an option. If you don't want this center pocket like this, you can totally just make that so there's no pocket there. Then you're going to stitch around all 4 sides. If you do want to make this a pocket, you're not going to stitch on this line. You're just going to back stitch right where your intersection is, come down here, turn, here, here, and back stitch. So you're going to sew 3 sides, leaving that side open if you want this pocket. If you don't want this pocket, stitch the whole square. So go ahead and do that and meet me back here. And make sure you're only stitching to your 2 panels, your 2 outer panels. All right, so I have stitched 3 sides. I don't know that you can see that, but if we take all our clips off and we let this open back up, you can now see we've got that center pocket. I left the top open on mine so that I can have a pocket down in here. And this is kind of how the bag's starting to look. All right, this is where things get fun. So I'm going to try to go through this slowly. It's not difficult, but it seems kind of wonky until you start doing it, and then you'll get it. So what you're going to do is open this up. So you've got these 2 hooked together, and it's basically like this. Okay, so this is what we have right now, and this is going to be the front of my bag. Now, if you want to put tabs on and have a handle like this, you're going to take one of your tabs, and whether you made it out of the fabric, I've lost my fabric piece, but whether you made it out of the fabric or the vinyl, you've got a tab that is stitched. You're just going to put your D-ring in it, just like this, and I like to put it about 1 inch down from the top. And you're going to connect that to the lining, or I'm sorry, to the outer fabric, just like that. Now, if you want to do a crossbody bag, what I would recommend is putting the other tab on the back bag on the opposite side. So I'm going to put one over here, and it's about 1 inch down. Oops, need another D-ring. So if you wanted to do the crossbody bag, I would put them like this. Put one on the front bag and one on the back bag. And this is on the very back side. Oops. You want the D-ring to be on the inside. And the reason I would do it like this is if you put them both on this side, the bag's going, if you have it on a crossbody strap, it's going to want to tilt. So if you put one on the front and one on the back, it'll hold correctly if you have the crossbody strap on it. So take this over to the sewing machine. Make sure you only stitch to 1 layer of fabric, and you're going to stitch this down, and then you're going to open this side up, and you don't want your lining in there. And you're going to stitch this one down. If you just want to do the little wristlet, which is what we're going to do in the video, you only need 1 tab unless you want to. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 on here just to show you how it's done. Okay, so I have my tabs, and they're only sewn to those 2 outer pieces. Like that. All right, so now it's time to start the assembly. So you're going to orient this just like this. You've got the 2 bags, you've got your pocket, or maybe you don't, but they're sewn together right here. I've got both of my zippers on my left. That's how I'm doing mine. If you want them the other way, you can absolutely turn it this way. So I've got mine on the left. Now what we're going to do is assemble this just like we would a normal zipper pouch, but the only complication we have is that we have this extra pouch. So what we're going to do is open this up. We've got one panel and one lining over here. And what we need to do is connect that to this one. Normally we would take an outer fabric, lift it up, and then we'd have our two lining fabrics. But we've got all this other stuff going on. So what we're essentially going to do is take this bag that we've attached and get it out of our way. So to do that, I'm just going to fold this in, fold it in, and if you have safety pins, that's your best bet for keeping this in place. But I'm just going to fold this bag out of my way, and I'm going to try to just use Wonder clips. But again, safety pins would be great. I wouldn't recommend using straight pins because when you go to turn this right side out, you're going to potentially stab yourself a little bit. All right, so now we can see the outer fabrics like we normally would, and we can see the two lining fabrics like we normally would. So we can go ahead with our assembly. So we want to make sure we open up this zipper on the bottom, and then you're going to lift up your two outer fabrics, take your two lining fabrics, and there we have it. So all you're going to do is start matching this up. I would start on the side seams, and again, you want to make sure that that other bag is out of your way, so just tuck it in there. Match up your side seams, and clip those into place first. Same on this end. Again, I'm tucking that bag back out of my way. We fold it up, and match that up. Clip. Same thing on the lining side. Clip. And then continue clipping all the way around, matching this up, keeping the other bag out of your way. Okay, on your lining side, as always, we're going to leave a place to turn this right side out. So I would make it about 3 to 4 inches. We've got a lot of bulk to turn through that hole. So I'm going to give mine a good 4 inches. So now you're going to take this over to your sewing machine. You're going to back stitch. So all the way around the corner, and back stitch. Stopping at this line, you're not going to sew between these two lines, just like always. I'm going to use about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, maybe slightly more. Use whatever you're comfortable with. I like to use the edge of my presser foot, but as long as you're consistent throughout the bag, you'll be fine. So go ahead and sew that all the way around, leaving this opening. Okay, so you've got that stitched all the way around. I'm going to trim off my corners, making sure not to cut your stitch lines, obviously. Just get rid of some of that bulk. All right, so now you're going to reach inside and turn this right side out, and it's going to take a little bit. Get it going. You got a lot to turn out there. All right, so you can undo your clips. And now we've got one completed bag. I'm going to reach inside and get my corners nice and poked out. Don't forget about the corner the zipper's in. Should be nice finished for you. Undo that zipper the rest of the way. Took the corners of my lining out. All right, so we've got this one. We've still got this opening down here. We're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to tuck that back in. All right, so now we've got this situation going on. We've got one completed bag and one not completed bag. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it down like this. We're going to take the one that we just completed, and it's a little bit easier because it's partially sewn. And we're just going to now fold this one up and out of our way. Obviously, you're going to need your iron when we're done with this. I'm going to clip this one out of my way. Again, safety pins would be a good choice here, but I think we can handle it with clips if you want. All right, so now we can take our two outer fabrics and our two lining fabrics, just like this. Do the same thing we just did. We're going to match up the sides, clip, match up the sides, clip, and then continue clipping all the way around. And again, we're going to leave that 4-inch opening that we're not going to sew in. So we're going to back stitch, sew all the way around, back to where the other mark, back stitch, don't sew between the lines. All right, so now we're going to clip our corners again. Reach inside, turn it right side out. Okay, so now you're going to take this over to your pressing surface and press the bottoms in like so, just so that they are turned in. And then you can either use the double-sided adhesive or go ahead and stitch those closed, and you're going to do that on both pockets. So you need to pull this one out too. Okay, so once you've got both of your lining stitched, just tuck those back in. And essentially your pouch could be finished. Now I like to put a cam snap in here. All right, so we're gonna switch over to this bag. Unfortunately, my camera shut off on this one, finishing that one, and I didn't realize it. So, okay, so you're gonna unzip both pouches and you're going to go down about 1 inch, and I'm just eyeballing it. You can make it wherever you want, but you're going to use the two inside pieces just like this, and I'm just going to go down about 1 inch, and I'm going to push the awl right through all of the layers so it looks like this. So now I've got the hole for my cam snaps. You're going to take one of your cam snaps, this is the tack piece, you're going to put it inside the bag and through the hole. And it should be coming out in the center, right here. Then you're going to take one of your backs, and I've done tons of videos on cam snaps, but you've got two different backs. You're going to take one of the backs, it doesn't matter which, put it on the back side. You're going to use your cam snap clamp. You're going to put the black side against the tack side. So I'm going to put that right in there, sandwich that in, and squeeze that closed. And then on this side, we're going to put the cam snap inside. Find our hole. Poke that right through. Make sure it lines up. And then you're going to take your other back, put that on. Hopefully you can see that. I've got the tack on the inside and the back. Now if you wanted to not see this tack, you could obviously put that on prior to sewing the bags together. I just find it doesn't bother me to see the tack on the inside, and I just know this way everything's going to line up correctly. I would hate to get it all assembled and then have my tacks be off slightly. But if you want to do them before you close this lining up, you absolutely can. So that's it. We've now got our third pocket with a cam snap closure. And now we're going to make a wrist strap. And again, my camera shut off when I finished this one out. So I'll show you, I'll make another one. So your strap was cut to 3 inches by 15. You need to decide how long you want it. This one's actually longer. I just grabbed a scrap. But decide how long you want it. You know, if you want, I actually like mine closer to 12. Some people like them a little bit bigger. So I'm going to cut mine down to about 12 inches. But again, I just left the extra for in case you want a longer strap. You've got a little bit of leeway. So what you're going to do is take your strap that's all folded up and you're going to thread your lobster clasp through it. I'll use this one. Just like this. Once you've got your lobster clasp through it, you're going to take each end and unfold it, just like this. Unfold this end. And you're just going to place those right sides together, just like this. Make sure it's not twisted. Right sides together. And then you're just going to stitch that closed using about a 1/4 inch seam allowance right across the top. So we've got that stitched together. It's now like a circle. So you're just going to press that seam open with your fingers. And then you're just going to refold it just like you had it when you pressed it. That's why we pre-pressed it. It just should fold back together pretty easily. And then fold it back in half. So it looks just like this. And make sure it's not twisted. Now take it over to the sewing machine and you're just going to stitch that open end closed. I find it easier to put it down on my sewing machine and then put the presser foot down. I guess it would be this way. Put the presser foot down this way and sew. And you're just going to keep rotating it and pulling that lobster clasp out of your way. And then put a matching seam on the opposite side. So when you're finished, it should look like this. I don't know if you can see my stitching or not. Got a thread. And then you're just going to take the seam where you met the 2 edges and you're just going to swing the lobster clasp around there, close it up, and then just give it make sure it's not twisted, give it a little stitch right there, and that will just keep the lobster clasp from swinging or swiveling around. So just stitch it closed right across there. I back stitch a few times. And there you have your wrist strap. So I will take this one off. And if you want a little bit wider wrist strap, you can obviously start with a wider piece of fabric, make it the way you want it. So there you have it. And I think this is a really fun size too. I made this one just slightly smaller. You can make them whatever size you want. Again, this one was 8 by 10. This one's about 6 by 8. This is, I think, my favorite of the small size. This one I actually tried. I was going to try to make this one just like a 1/2 inch smaller, just so that it was kind of centered on the back. I don't like that as well. I like it when they're even, but it was another option. So that's it. That is the Brinkley double zipper pouch. And I think these are really fun. I do like the crossbody style for the larger bag. I don't like the crossbody as well on the smaller size, but it's totally up to you. And again, you can make these as big or as small as you want. They do have a lot of room. I can get my iPhone XS Max in the small one, and I can obviously get it in the big one. And I still have plenty of room for other things. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to click that bell notification so that you're notified every time there is a new video. I do try to get at least one a week, if not more. And every Tuesday I have Dollar Tree Tuesday. Also, don't forget to go over to Instagram and follow me on Instagram. I currently have a huge giveaway going on over there. I'm giving away a Cricut Maker, a Cricut Easy Press Mini, and a roll of infusible ink. So it's a great giveaway and a great opportunity to get yourself a Cricut Maker, and all you have to do is follow the directions on the giveaway post on my Instagram page. So I will leave a link to my Instagram below in the video description, and until next time, never stop making. See you guys. Bye-bye.